the weather forecast with Coloca in its multipurpose banquet hall, Il Palazzo.
Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the weather forecast tonight, where we would have it really calm across the nation. We would have temperatures between 10 to 16 degrees in Adamawa and far north regions, 20 to 24 in the south, and 17 to 22 degrees in the center region. We would also have in the west and northwest regions a range between 12 to 14 degrees and 16 to 24 degrees in the littoral region. We now take you to the east region, where there would be a 0% chance of rainfall in the entire region this evening, and by morning it would be the same situation in the east region. Next, we go over to the southwest, where there would be no rainfall in the entire region this evening, and by daybreak it would be the same experience in the southwest region. Lastly, we take you over to the north region, where there would be a 0% chance of precipitation this evening, and by morning it would be the same experience in the north region. I encourage you to make out time to visit the Lagdo Dam of the north region for some great discoveries. Thank you for watching, and do have a good night.
January 4th, 2020 makes it exactly 1 year since President Paul Biya gave his confidence to Joseph John NGUTE by appointing him Prime Minister, head of government. What have been his achievements? Find out in this newscast. Peace is gradually returning to Cameroon's troubled spots, especially to the northwest and southwest regions, thanks to security measures taken by government to protect its citizens. Cameroon's volleyball lionesses compete alongside 4 other African nations for the lone continental ticket to the 2020 Olympic Games in Tokyo. Well, thanks for joining us on this newscast. As you heard in our top stories, there has been benchmark initiatives in 2019 to bring back peace and stability to Cameroon as a whole and to the security-troubled northwest and southwest regions in particular. Killian Dandifon in the following write-up revisits some of the peace-seeking acts for the 7:30 News.
October 3, 2019. 333 more separatist and secessionist-related offense perpetrators freed across the country following a presidential clemency to discontinue established court cases against them. It is a strong concessional act of the President of the Republic to pull down the forces that are working not only to disintegrate Cameroon but also to destabilize the country. There have been dissenting voices decrying the marginalization of Anglophones in Cameroon, saying sovereign positions in government have never been held by Anglophones. The Ministries of Defense, Territorial Administration, Finance and Education were top on the list. The January 4, 2019 government, with Joseph John NGUTE as Prime Minister, featured Paul Atanganji as Minister of Territorial Administration and Nalova Lyonga as Minister of Secondary Education. The first time in the history of the country that this happened. If we think that this is not an act of peace, let us admit that it is a bold step forward for appeasement. On the same pedestal, we have Directors General in Strategic Public Establishments, a common law bench in the Supreme Court, common law departments in state universities. If these are not concessional acts of peace, then tell us what they are. Let us criticize the major national dialogue as much as possible, but let us also admit that the intention was to bring back peace to the country, especially in the northwest and southwest regions. Today, there is a general decentralization code that gives unprecedented financial and administrative autonomy to collective decentralized entities, the acceptance of the common and civil law practices as separate legal systems on the basis of their cultural and historical heritage. The English and French subsystems of education will henceforth operate separately, and what is more, the Northwest and Southwest regions have a special status. Peace caravans are still openly or behind the curtains seeking to calm down tempers that rightly or wrongly flared up. International personalities and organizations have been invited to Cameroon with a common peace-seeking initiative, among them the Commonwealth, La Francophonie, the European Union, and heads of diplomatic missions. These are concessional peace acts.
Over in the southwest region, reports say there is progressive return to normalcy in parts of the region. Although there are still pockets of violence in some localities, towns and cities in particular are regaining their usual hustle and bustle, as we hear in the following report by Olivia Mboye from CRTV Southwest in Boya.
Echoes from the 6 divisions of the Southwest region indicate that socio-economic activities are picking up steam. Travel agencies are regaining their usual effervescence. In fact, things are steering gradually to life.
Business is moving well. We are calling on all those who left should come back.
Today is a beautiful day, so my friends and I just decided to relax and to see what our town has to offer for us at the Reunification Monument.
Although there are still pockets of violence and sporadic attacks, many inhabitants attest that the wave of violence has dropped tremendously.
I think there's a bit of an improvement than before. Yes, it's moving more better than before.
Majority of them who are in the 10 Boki villages are enjoying relative peace. In fact, there is no problem for now. The unfortunate thing is that the economic activities that sustain their lives and make life very easy for the people is what matters as at this time.
Even in Meme and Manyu divisions, for example, which are among the hardest hit areas, schools have so far recorded an unprecedented increase in enrollment.
We have overpopulated classrooms due to the IDPs leaving the villages to come and settle in my one. So we have more than 500 people in this school, which is not ever the case we have in the other years.
For a region that has been torn by violence for over 3 years, it is the wish of the population that lasting peace returns.
And today marks the first anniversary of the NGUTE government following his appointment on January 4, 2019 by President Paul Biya. 1 year on, Staff Lely Sisako Tamko samples the opinions of some Cameroonians on their appraisal of the NGUTE government and to the expectation of the people as they move into another year under his leadership as head of government.
It may be too early to evaluate the achievements, but not too soon to point out the direction, given that Prime Minister NGUTE was appointed at a particular context.
The question of caravan peace, which personally he have been appointed as the leader for the caravan peace for Manyu division, which is going on, and indeed we're achieving more. Most of these our children are coming back home now. Most of the children have already known and realized that they were misled by people in diaspora.
He's a man of peace. He is a peace crusader, and as a peace crusader, you know that peace is what catalyzes development.
For some, the NGUTE style provides enough ingredients to accomplish the 2 main tasks assigned him by the head of state.
He uses the appropriate language, the appropriate words to send home the message, especially when he says, I've come to hear from you, to listen from you. That means a lot.
When he said in lingua franca, I beg you, moving to marketplace, disturbs the hearts of many Cameroonians.
With the groundwork for a more peaceful way forward laid now, and with economic emergence at the center of his mission, expectations are high. Government's drive towards industrialization, the cattle in imports and the promotion of made-in-Cameroon goods are pointing towards continued effort at attaining a positive growth rate, which is a cry of the people.
Make sure that the economy of Cameroon picks up so that we realize the growth momentum, GDP growth of almost more than 5%.
But I think more efforts should be put on youth promotion programs.
I expect to see that before he goes out of office, the road from Kumba to Mundemba, right up to Akwa, Sangele, should be tarred. Ring Road, which has been a sing-song.
The year 2020 hopefully will provide further improvement on the groundwork laid after recognition by the head of state.
Cameroon joined the international community today to observe World Braille Day. The day is set aside to raise awareness on the importance of Braille as a means of communication for the blind. Jamila Kadzalat reports that the day is celebrated each year to commemorate the birthday of Louis Braille, credited with inventing the Braille language. Kadzalat?
Braille is a tactile representation of alphabetic and numerical symbols using 6 dots to represent each letter and number and even musical, mathematical and scientific symbols. Braille, named after its inventor in the 19th century, Louis Braille, is used by blind and partially sighted people to read the same books and periodicals as those printed in a visual font. Though not a public holiday in any country, World Braille Day provides an opportunity for teachers, charities and non-governmental organizations to raise awareness about issues facing the blind and the importance of continuing to produce works in Braille. The Braille system works by representing the alphabet letters in a series of 6 dots paired up in 3 rows. The simplicity of this idea allowed books to start being produced on a large scale in a format that thousands of blind people can read by running their fingertips over the dots. Thanks to this, blind students have the opportunity to be educated alongside their peers as well as read for pleasure just as easily as any seeing person can.
Curtains will be drawn tomorrow on the 14th edition of the Yaoundé Trade Fair dubbed Yafe. The 18th-day fair at the Yaoundé Conference Center has so far seen a massive turnout of visitors and exhibitors from far and near, showcasing a variety of products. Cynthia Etim was at the Yafe ground and describes the emotions of visitors.
She walks in with smiles on her face to have a beautiful moment at the Yaoundé Trade Fair, few hours to the end of the 14th edition of Yafe.
My mom told me that tomorrow Yafe is ending. I want to play and spend time in Yafe. I'm just from climbing the horse. I'll eat ice cream, play games, and go merry-go-round.
Relaxation garden open for kids and other economic activities have been at the center of events here as visitors troop in, parading exhibition stands to get a few items before the fair closes its doors.
I've bought some kitchen utensils here at Yafe. I'm happy because they are of good quality and the prices are affordable.
I just came with the kids to discover what is happening. The environment is so wonderful.
Exhibitors, for their part, have a positive balance sheet as they have been able to reach their expectations.
I've been selling very well since Yafe started, so I have so many profits.
I come just only Yafe from Pakistan to participate in Yafe. I like Yafe because it's good people here and so many holidays. If I get good business, I get good experience, I get good customers. That's why I come every year. So I hope if I have life to I come again.
Yaoundé and Fête Yafe thus ends this January 5. And taking leave of the place is not in the agenda of this child who visibly has developed an affectionate relationship with the Yafe site.
On Monday, January 6, 2020, the second term will resume nationwide. Prior to the reopening, traffic has intensified at most agencies as most passengers are struggling to reserve seats to travel to their respective destinations. Natasha Lehman-Losha visited some of the agencies in the Van neighborhood here in the capital city and says measures have been taken by agency buses to ensure the security of passengers and their luggages.
It is brisk business in most transport agencies in Yaoundé. Barely less than 48 hours for the second term to take off. There are long queues at the cash boxes in different agencies, and those who cannot withstand the stress simply turn their luggage to rest houses. Passengers who succeed to get a ticket have a new battle to have a seat in the bus to reach their destinations.
People here are so many that in a way that we cannot have a car to go. So I'm trying to wait for a car so that you can take us to Douala. I really feel tired because I've been waiting for long.
Managers of these transport agencies have increased the number of buses to meet the high demand. Security has also been tightened to ensure that passengers travel safely.
As you can see, lots of people are coming here in Phoenix. This is the second term, like academic year, school starting. As you can see behind me, lots of people are there. There is way in and way out. There are where vehicles entered in order to avoid traffic, and then there are other areas where vehicles go out.
Hopefully on Monday, all routes for pupils and students will lead to the classrooms for the second term.
You're watching the 7:30 news live in Studio 5 in CRTV in Balato. Comments on the President of the Republic's end-of-year speech have been increasing on the social media. While many express their dissatisfaction of the issues tackled by the President in his speech, others are enthusiastic that this year has much in store for everyone. Joyce Tata sampled the opinions of some city dwellers on the comments made in the President's speech.
Since the head of state's New Year address to the nation on December 31, the social media has been a melting pot for reactions from Cameroonians on the issues he talked about. The comments kept popping in before, during and after the president's speech, with each Cameroonian reading it from their point of interest.
I think their reactions were fair. Some were waiting to have a balance sheet of the previous year, but the head of state made a brief analysis of Cameroon's situation, leaving others expectant. The reactions of Cameroonians online to me were normal, given the current situation of the country. It was normal for Cameroonians to express their dissatisfaction at some level on what they expected the president to say. They wanted a more assuring speech.
However, others believe such reactions are inevitable given the fact that everyone has liberal access to the internet.
I think it's a yearly routine. It didn't surprise me. I'm used to seeing youth react on the president's speech. They are mostly those who kept dropping their comments on social media. Expectations differ from one citizen to the other. Be it good or bad, I believe they should be taken into consideration by public authority and also allow for current regulations to be revisited.
The period from the night of the 31st of December last year till date has been a busy one for most internet users in Cameroon, with many using the medium to express their take as far as the head of state's message to the Republic is concerned.
We now take you over to the East region, where some 99 newly promoted officers received their epaulets on January 1, 2020. The ceremony, which took place at the Bertois Ceremonial Ground, was presided at by East Regional Governor Gregoire Vongo. Martin Mabo covered the event and sent in the following report from CRTV, Bertois.
Honor and fidelity. That's how we can best describe the emotions that were expressed by the 23 officers, 73 non-commissioned officers, and 3 rank and files that received their promotion at the Bertois Ceremonial Ground on the first day of 2020.
It's a feeling of joy, satisfaction, okay? But as I used to say, it's an individual reward, but behind this, there's a collective commitment. So that's why I would like to thank the Almighty God first, and I would like to thank my hierarchy. And then right after, I would like to thank this girl, this woman, and together with my children.
The governor of the East region, Gregoire Vongo, who presided over the ceremony, accompanied by General Joseph Noma and the top ranks of the military, joined the public, friends and family, the military corps, and curious onlookers for a memorial event.
Today it's a consecration, moving from the corps of non-commissioned officers and being commissioned as an officer.
It's for every soldier, it's a consecration.
The family members present comprise of spouses, brothers, sisters, children, other relatives exchange gifts, kisses, and love, thanking God for the promotion. The ceremony ended with a military parade presided over by the troop commander, Alois Major.
Over in Douala, a similar exercise took place where some 256 officers, non-commissioned officers and soldiers of the rank and file who were promoted to higher ranks also received epaulets corresponding to their ranks. And the epaulet award ceremony, which took place on January 1, 2020, was at the headquarters of the 2nd Joint Military Region in Douala. Littoral Governor Samuel Dieudonné Divahadiboa chaired the ceremony in the presence of top military officials. We have details with Dixon Ashu in Douala.
The ceremony is solemn and in pure military tradition, beginning with the promoted officers, 47 of them who marched to the foreground for the ritual. They have won their corresponding epaulets by the region's top military officials and the littoral governor, Samuel Dieudonné Divahadiboa. 196 promoted non-commissioned officers later joined the officers in the foreground, and the ritual proceeds to end with 3 promoted soldiers of rank and file.
I thank my hierarchy for giving me the confidence, because maybe if I was not working well, it wouldn't have gone like this. So I'm thanking them.
I have many responsibilities now due to my promotions. That is why I want to thank the head of state, all my chiefs, who has provoked the promotion.
A good way to start the new year for the newly promoted, whose promotion falls within the first semester of the 2020 budgetary year.
And let's now talk politics, where officials of the Cameroon People's Democratic Movement, the CPDM party in the Upper Plateau Center, have been urged to close ranks and ensure victory for the party during the upcoming elections, billed for February 9, 2020. The section president, Didier Kandem, made the call in Baham during a meeting to prepare for the municipal and legislative elections, as NGUTE Henry reports from Bafoussam.
The meeting was attended by officials of all the subsections of the CPDM party in the Upper Plateau Center. It was to hash strategies to ensure victory for the CPDM during the February 9th municipal and the legislative elections. The section president, Didier Kandem, has enjoined them to mobilize supporters for a massive vote of the CPDM list in the twin elections. He enjoined the local officials to comb all the neighborhoods to canvass for votes when campaigns are launched. On her part, the member of parliament for the area said the twin elections will once again prove that the Upper Plateau is a bastion of the CPDM party. Honorable Futsu Kamdem Faustine has promised her total support to guarantee victory for the party in the Upper Plateau Center and the entire division.
Over in the Far North region, members of the CPDM of the Mayokani Northwest section, as well as sympathizers, have promised a 100% vote for the party during the upcoming election. The commitment was taken during a grand rally in Muturwa subdivision, where the party members gathered to thank President Paul Biya for appointing sons of Muturwa in top positions in the country. Constantine Baum was there and filed in this report for the news.
The rally started with the church service at the Lutheran Brethren Church at Muturwa. The church service was to give glory to God. From the church, the CPDM party members, sympathizers, friends and family moved to the Muturwa Municipal Stadium for the grand rally. The rally was to enable the people of Muturwa to say thank you to the head of state for appointing 2 sons of the subdivision as Director of Contracts at the Ministry of Public Works and Director of General Affairs at the Ministry of Sport and Physical Education.
It is normal to express it like this. If it is not here
when it will be. If it is not now, when will that be? To recognize that President Paul Biya is the one who is always thinking to the youth.
The respective leaders, be it political, traditional, as well as the elite, promised their total support to the newly appointed officials for them to be able to succeed in the tasks assigned to them by the head of state. All must come on board so that the subdivision benefits more in terms of roads, schools, hospitals, electricity, and especially water, which is a major problem in Muturwa.
All people for Muturwa will vote RDPC at 100%.
The celebration that started on Saturday, December 28, extended to Sunday, December 29 at the Nubu village, where the elites, sons and daughters, organized another church service to thank God for the blessing he has showered on Victor Musa Buba. The people of Nubu promised to continue standing by the CPDM as the party is getting ready to compete with other political parties come February 19 elections.
An elite of the Northwest region, Senator Regina Mundi, has stepped up efforts towards promoting agriculture in the region. She has offered maize seedlings to Christians of the Presbyterian Church in Tamulung, which she describes as a sign of love and compassion. Osla Tita Nikki of our Northwest Regional Bureau completes the rest of that story from Bamenda.
These are members of the Njang Choir of the Presbyterian Church, Tamulung in Bamenda. Through their songs, they appreciated God for his blessings in their lives and in the life of one of their dedicated members, Senator Regina Mundi, who has consistently offered support to the group. Apart from singing, they also prayed, requesting God's protection on her. As a sign of gratitude, the senator symbolically handed over a bag of treated maize seedlings to the choristers to encourage productivity and show love.
Physically, it is a seed for them to plant, to grow corn for their use, and also to sell. On the spiritual part of it, it is a symbolic seed, planting the seed of love, which would grow.
The choir members promised to extend the assistance to their fellow brothers and sisters in need.
We are very grateful, indeed, even though some of us do not even have farms, but we will try now.
It is a festive atmosphere surrounding the offer, which members of the Njang Choir of the Presbyterian Church in Tamulung wish to replicate in 2020.
And onto religion, the Bishop of Ebolova, His Lordship Philip Alembarga, has celebrated 25 years of priesthood. It was during an Episcopal Mass at the St. Anne and Joachim Cathedral, officiated by the Bishop in the presence of the Apostolic Nuncio to Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea, Julio Murad. Samuel Sawalda reports.
It was an impressive crowd of Christians and personalities from within and out of Cameroon who turned out at the St. Anne and Joachim Cathedral in Aban Ebolova. Clergymen, members of the diplomatic corps, cabinet members, administrative and traditional authorities all came to share in the joy of the Bishop of Ebolova, His Lordship Philip Alembarga, who is celebrating 25 years of priesthood.
Thanksgiving to God who give us the priesthood in order to serve his people.
It's a sentiment of gratitude to God because the priesthood is a gift and at the same time it is a mystery.
Preaching during the Episcopal Mass that was attended by faithful from other denominations, the Metropolitan Archbishop of Yaoundé, His Grace Jean Barga, called on Christians to love their shepherds. 51-year-old Philip Alembarga, a native of Obut in the Diocese of Mbalmayo, is at the helm of the Ebolova Diocese since 3 years. He has pegged his ministry on the concept of proximity evangelism, encouraging parishioners to get involved in income-generating activities. After founding 16 parishes, his biggest dream is to rehabilitate the century-old Cathedral of Ebolova.
Our book of the week is titled Church Girl in Love, authored by Nyanga Sunday, holder of a Bachelor of Arts in Literature from the University of Boya. In 129 pages written in simple English, the author uses the life of a young girl, Liza, whose father is a pastor, to tell a story of how girls from such church homes are regarded in Cameroon. The story, staged in Boya Southwest region, uses intrigues, suspense and well-coined description to capture the attention of the reader. Emanuela Vemnu read the novel for the 7:30 News.
The story is told of three friends, Lisa, the daughter of a pastor, Farida and Shirley. So fond of each other, they run a common business, blogging. Lisa is a church girl, and any relationship with the opposite sex is not an option. Despite her closeness to Andrew, the tall, handsome Christian, the dream man of every girl, even Lisa's mother, the young beauty finally falls for Sly, the jean trouser-like boy. Behind the story, an underlining message.
It is different from other African stories because African stories always take us to the back, to the pre-colonial time, and we never see the reality of an African girl. Africans really love reading romance, but they read Western romance and they never connect with the stories. But when you come back to read something about love in Africa, it takes you to Under the Mango Tree and stuff like that.
The intriguing African romance, Church Girl in Love, goes beyond prayer lines and life around the church house to including the life of a youngster in a society of non-believers.
People always feel that a church girl is some girl that is so churchy, always confused about things around love.
Lisa's father, the pastor, is in a critical condition after a car accident on the Douala Highway, yet Sly succeeds to win the heart of Lisa and later marries her.
When a Cameroonian reads Church Girl in Love, he or she will connect to the characters. Secondly, he or she will see some realities that we don't talk about.
Church Girl in Love is the debut novel of Nyanga Sandy, graduate with a BA in Literature from the University of Boya. The book is published by Bookman Communication Inc., Boya.
And the 5 teams, we are talking sports, the 5 teams to take part in the African Women's Volleyball Qualifying Tournament from this Sunday had their last training session today at the Multipurpose Sports Complex. Amongst the teams that trained are Kenya and Cameroon, the 2 best women's volleyball teams in Africa. Bodwin Sama tells us more.
They are the main challengers and will be the lone veritable litmus test for Cameroon's volleyball lionesses in this qualifying tournament. The Kenyan women's volleyball team, during their last training session this Saturday before the start of the competition, laid emphasis on what it will take for them to win all their matches. It is an all-home-based team that is in Cameroon with no international training experience, looking forward to securing the lone available African tickets.
We have teams like our host Cameroon, we have Egypt. These are 2 strong teams for which we have to watch out. And we missed for many years Kenya, 2 edition. And we hope that this time we have really prepared. We would like to have this only 1 ticket from Africa.
Cameroon's volleyball lionesses, on their part, are conscious of the challenge that lies ahead, and Saturday's training session was a replica of the previous, given the team's determination to impress at home and qualify for the Olympic Games.
It's a team. There is those who come, those who don't come, some competitions, so we have just to do with those who are here, and I know that we'll continue to work, so we'll try to work more and to be ready for the first game.
Teams Nigeria, Egypt and Botswana equally trained this Saturday with a video refereeing system that was installed by the different referees to be tested for the first time during this competition.
And that is what we saw on the 7:30 News this evening. Thanks for watching. At 8:30, that is another 30 minutes, Atabadine Omar will be here on the set to anchor Luvento Trand. On behalf of the technical crew, I wish you a pleasant evening, and it will be my pleasure to be in your company tomorrow, same time, same set. Bye for now. Good night.